Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today I'm talking about gatekeeping in music, and not just music. I'm talking about specifically punk and in metal. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you go check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music weekly playlist we put together, and also the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So gatekeeping is something that's been around for a long time, and I'm sure most of us, probably all of us, at one time or another, have been guilty of gatekeeping. But if you to kind of narrow it down, I guess I'll start with a definition of gatekeeping. Basically, what gatekeeping is in music is keeping others away from something that you like. So, like I said in the intro, specifically looking at metal and punk music, because I think those are by far, the most of the gatekeeping that happens in music between music fans. It generally is, at least from what I see online, members of or fans of either punk music or metal. And it seems like every time I talk on this channel about Green Day, for instance, I always get a bunch of comments about how Green Day is a punk. When, to be completely honest, if you go back and look at Green Day's career, at least their first 3 albums, they're definitely punk albums. After that, after Dookie, once you get into like Insomniac and Nimrod and Warning, okay, we can have that discussion on what where their music went. It still had a lot of punk elements, except for Warning. I don't think there was really anything punk related on Warning, but most of the albums had some kind of like punk feel or punk flavor to it. And yes, they did do a lot of stuff that was maybe more like straightforward, alternative music or alternative rock. Yeah, you can kind of look at that. But especially like if you're talking about earlier in their career, yeah, it's definitely punk music. And I think you can say the same for a lot of metal fans also. You can take a band like Ghost. They're one of those new up and coming, I shouldn't say new, they've been around for a while now, but they're definitely newer in comparison to a lot of those older metal bands from the 80s and 90s and early part of the 2000s. But if you look at a lot of the stuff that they get online, a lot of talk around them online, it always kind of comes back around to, well, they're not metal or they're not metal enough, or, or they're a Swedish band, so they can't really be metal, in comparison to like Metallica or Iron Maiden or one of those kind of traditional kind of metal bands. When in reality, the term metal and the term punk are just umbrella terms. And there are lots of different subcategories of punk, for instance, whether there's hardcore punk or pop punk or, ska punk, skate punk. There's a bunch of different punk versions. And the same thing for metal. There's a bunch of different subcategories of metal. Metal is just a big blanket term. Is Ghost the same as Metallica? No. But they're still, that doesn't really kind of declassify them as a metal band. And you saw a bunch of gatekeeping from metal fans when Stranger Things Season 4 premiered, and it opened up a lot of younger fans' eyes to a band like Metallica, who maybe they hadn't experienced a lot before. And, you saw Master of Puppets shoot up the music charts again because of that series. But you saw a lot of metal fans online talking about, bringing these new kids in and they don't really know the music and this and that, any kind of excuse to kind of push those kids away from the music that they've loved for years. So I guess my question to you is, why punk and why metal? Why is there so much gatekeeping in those two music genres? Is it just because of, they're kind of like the anti-mainstream music, and they feel that, as the mainstream kind of creeps into their genre, that they kind of lose some of the music? I don't really know. That's why I wanted to throw it out to you guys and see what your opinions of it are. You also have to remember that music is probably the most subjective form of art that's out there. You can take 100 people and ask them any kind of music-related question, and you're going to get 100 different answers from them. It just, no one's going to agree on music. Even fans of a genre. You can take metal fans; they're not going to agree on the same thing. You take punk fans; they're not going to agree on the same thing. That's just how it is. So it's funny to see people kind of create this almost like mythology or religion around genres of music. I know there's this trend going around online, or I shouldn't even really say online. It's been going on for years, where you walk into a store and you see a teenager wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt, and you want to go up to them and ask, hey, name 3 songs from Led Zeppelin. And then you want to kind of shame them for not knowing 3 songs, which is completely ridiculous. If you've got a younger person that's enjoying the music, even if they know 1 song, I mean, hell, even if they just enjoy the logo of the band, that's not a bad thing. It's kind of weird to make it out to be some kind of bad thing. And it's just odd to me to see people online, or I've even talked to people that have this like superiority complex over other music fans and talk about how there's a hierarchy in music listening. I had one guy tell me one time that he had perfectly trained his ear to listen to music, and how he knew music better than I did, which I think is a ridiculous concept. Because like I said, it's so subjective. Everything about music is so subjective. So there really is no hierarchy or superiority from one person to the next. You could take a band like, say Nickelback, for instance, a band that I've kind of made fun of for years and years. But there's no denying how popular a band like that is. I mean, they're one of the biggest selling bands of all time, especially of the 2000s. So, as much as I'd like to poke fun at them, I know they've got a huge following, and, they still sell out concerts today. Another example of gatekeeping from myself is the fact that I can't stand the band The Sex Pistols. I've talked a long time about how they're basically the punk version of the Backstreet Boys, just kind of a fake band put together to sell merchandise, and almost like a publicity stunt that they've been over their career. But I can't deny the fact that even though they did have this artificial kind of career, they've had a huge impact in music over the last 40 years. But I guess going back to my original point, it's weird that you don't really see this kind of gatekeeping in pop or country. I guess you do a little bit in country when it comes to Taylor Swift, but outside of Taylor Swift, there really is no gatekeeping in country. There's no gatekeeping in rap. Whatever genre you want to go to, it really is no gatekeeping in other genres. It seems to me, at least what I see online, primarily just a metal and punk thing. And maybe I see a little bit more of that because I'm a fan of pop punk from the mid to late 90s. I'm a fan of Rancid, some of these other bands that maybe more traditional punk fans look at as being inauthentic or posers in their genre. So maybe that's why I'm seeing a little bit more of it. I guess it's one of those things where, like, you don't see red cars until you buy red cars. So I guess if you're a fan of those bands that get a lot of hate, I guess you see more gatekeeping. But I don't know, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys see gatekeeping in other genres of music? Do you think that I'm completely off base and there really is no gatekeeping in punk or metal? And maybe I'm just seeing really small instances, kind of one of those things where, it's a loud minority of people that get a lot of the attention online. Maybe that might be the case. But let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a little thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep all spinning. Peace.